Hello, everybody, and welcome once again to Orange First here on the DenverChannel.com and the Denver 7 app. I'm Lionel Bienvenu. It is your first look at the Jacksonville Jaguars game coming up on Sunday. And, of course, we got to look back at that disaster at Mile High Sunday night against the Chiefs. With me, as always, the stars of the show, Troy Rank, our Denver 7 Broncos insider, and Woody Page is looking for the other star. Woody, do you see anybody over there?
No.
Well, then it's got to be you, buddy. Woody Page as well. All right, guys, we're looking ahead to Jacksonville now. After the loss at Kansas City, this Jaguars game against a 2-9 team becomes a must-win. You can't go in there and lose. You got to win at least, I think, 4 of the next 5 to assure yourself of a playoff game.
Yeah, 3 puts you at a number you don't want to be at. The Broncos know the math. They probably got to win 4 or 5. And it looks like to me, Lionel, that they're going to have to beat New England. That's either going to have to beat New England at home or Kansas City on the road. That's going to be the swing game. Yeah. And they need New England, Woody, to beat Miami. Can we even believe we're sitting here talking about the Broncos holding off the Dolphins? It's come to that, Woody.
This whole season, and you were talking in the hallway earlier, this whole season I've never experienced in 42 seasons of covering the team. And I looked back on it last night about 2 o'clock in the morning, and I said, back-to-back games like what we've just witnessed.
Saints
and the Chiefs. I've seen unusual things happen, the drive and all the other business that people have watched over the years, but not 2 games that had such strange, bizarre, otherworldly. It's like when Superman goes to Bizarro World, this is something that happened.
Right.
But luck, and the guy told me, he said, they weren't lucky last night. I said, this has been the luckiest team.
Yeah.
This is a Lou Gehrig speech all about how lucky they were. That it was a case last night where their luck finally abandoned them.
Yeah. And
the luck went the other way.
Well, you heard Aqib Talib and Von Miller say it. Aqib was like, I would have bet my paycheck on the fact that we could have stopped the Chiefs with 3 minutes to go in an 8-point lead. And Von Miller said, we did everything we could to lose this game. In the past, we've won games that we tried to lose because of our defense. And Sunday night against the Chiefs, let's do our pump the brakes with Brakes Plus right now. A look back to that 30-27 overtime loss. There were some things that popped up, as what you mentioned, luck ran out on them. And also, the defense, as Aqib said, for the first time he can remember, is they did not come through in the late part of the game as they have in the past.
Well, they have an 8-point lead with 3 minutes left. And that's what the defenders were talking about, is if you tell them that, they're like, okay. The Chiefs' probability of winning at that point, Woody, was 3%.
3%. And the way they had played early, with Von Miller, 3 sacks, the way they had dominated the game early, and you got 3 minutes left to do the same thing. 3%.
Had Benny Fowler not scored the 76-yard touchdown, say he gives himself up at the 20, they kick a field goal, and that gives them a 20-16 lead. The Chiefs get the ball back, 33 seconds left, roughly. They would then have a 2 to 1% chance. Right. So it wasn't this appreciable difference. The issue was this, Woody. It looked like the old prevent defense. It prevents you from winning. Ha-ha. We all get that joke. But it was a couple guys struggled in that. They could not. Bradley Roby struggled on a 4th and 10 where he gave up 11 yards. It was that 4th down play that we all kind of thought, okay, this is crazy, but it's going to end here. They're going to get their foot down, or somebody's going to sack Alex Smith. And let's not forgive the special teams. The reason they had no margin for error, their special teams were atrocious.
Right.
They gave up a kick return. They gave up long returns to set up scores. They gave up a field goal. They put them in field goal range. They took points off the board because the Broncos line up in an illegal formation.
Well, look,
their special teams were a complete meltdown.
Elway wants kicking and screaming. He got no kicking and shoving last night when Aqib Talib actually pushed Jordan Norwood off the field.
After a muff punt. Yeah. Again, on their terrible special teams.
Lionel, that's why I don't understand. I think this would be a situation where the fans and the media would have accepted the Broncos coming out of that with a tie. And historically, Lou Saban was run out of town because he accepted a tie. But John Elway tweeted today, we're going for the win, capital letters. Well, if you're going for the win, you could throw on 4th down. You could do that. But if you're going for the win, to interpret that means winning would be being in the playoffs and having a chance at the Super Bowl. by not trying a 62-yard field goal. I don't care who you are, if you're Jason Elam, I don't care if you're Matt Prater, I don't care if you're McManus, I don't care if you're Tom Dempsey. That doesn't happen that often.
And the weather
You
was
had
a
a
little
stat.
dicey.
You wrote a column talking to Patrick Smythe in the press box about how many 60-plus yard field goals are made and what the probability is, right?
To win a game, that would have been the furthest ever, right? Or at least in overtime.
Yeah, but 12% of 60-plus yarders are made, which surprised me that it's that many. But I'll accept that that's a number that he said. Historically, 12%, so there are not many tried. And I said, well, okay, now give me this stat. How many times do teams make 10 yards on fourth down? And so they put their people on it, and they came back and said 17 to 18%. And I said, well, that to me looks like a spread of 6%. When you add in, we were down on the field. The wind was swirling around some.
It wasn't great.
Was very cold. It was in the mid-40s at best. And I think the conditions were not conducive. I went back, Matt Prater did his on December 8th. I didn't get to the weather aspect of it.
The weather was cold. Crazy cold that day.
I'm not certain about that, but I go back to, we'll talk about Jacksonville, but are they playing Jacksonville at the right period of time? They played Tampa Bay at the right period of time, because look what Tampa Bay did to Seattle this past weekend. So that's the luck factor. So if I'm John Elway, I think you're lucky based on all you said. My final point, all you said, I'm lucky to get out of there with a tie.
But they can't do that. The mentality of the champ. The champ doesn't go for a draw.
Go for the win.
They go for the win.
If you don't win,
My
then
guy over here, he gets it.
take your consequences.
Now, here's the deal. I asked Kubiak today, did you think about going for the tie because of the playoff picture? I felt they were going for the win to win the division. Because if you lose that game, you can't win the division.
Right.
I mean, it's just obvious. The math doesn't work out. So I said, did you think bigger playoffs for the tie? And they looked at me like, are you insane?
Wait, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
I was going for
Because
the
that's
win
where
at the
Woody's
time.
point
Right.
is completely valid. A tie in the long run would have helped them,
Right.
but a win in the moment is what he felt he had to do to win the division.
Why do you have that analyst on the sideline? I mean, that guy should be spitting out information to you about all the things that Patrick Smythe and I talked late into the night.
Exactly. All right, let's do the Xfinity X1 injury report right now real quick. A few guys were banged up in the game against the Chiefs. Long snapper, they signed another guy. He's out again, but pretty healthy going into this Jacksonville game.
Yeah, Derek Wolf's elbow came out all right. There was a point in the game, Lionel, I thought DeMarcus Ware had re-injured
he
his
walked
right
off.
arm. It looked like more of a stinger. I talked to him. He said he's fine. The two guys that went into the concussion protocol, Capri Bibbs, Jordan Norwood, both came out and played. Norwood said that the concussion had nothing to do with him
Right.
muffing the punt. We'll see, but it didn't help, certainly. So really, no injury issues going into Jacksonville. No excuses. I mean,
Right.
that's a good place to be, but man, coming off an ugly loss.
Yeah, when we talk about keys to the game, you're going into a 2-9 Jacksonville, keys to the game. It's all kind of the same thing. Don't turn the ball over, run the ball, get out to a fast start. But let's address just quickly a couple of problems that we saw in the Chiefs game. One of them, obviously, the offensive line. Ty Sombrello got worked over by Justin Houston. Now, look, Houston is like Von Miller, right? I mean, if
he's
you
good.
get worked over by him, okay. But Sombrello, they pulled him out, and, Don went in the game and played well.
Yeah, Donald Stevenson told Denver 7, I am the right guy. I am the guy for this team.
Right.
I mean, and who could blame him? He was their big offseason acquisition in free agency. 3 years, $14 million, $10 million guaranteed. Woody, he can't be getting beat out by Ty Sombrello. Ty Sombrello needs a redshirt year to get stronger. He has got physical strength issues where he can't jab. With it. I'm not going to get too technical, but he doesn't have the strength right now to be a tackle in the NFL. So Stevenson has to be the guy going forward and has to play well. But it's not just him.
No.
Other than Paradis, their line's been just inconsistent. But they did better in the second half. Trevor Siemian had the best second half of his life.
I told you last night early in the game, and I haven't told you this, that's the first time in the history of the Broncos they've started 4 guys on the offensive line that they drafted. And you go, wow, that's not good, because they have never won with guys that they drafted.
Right.
They've won with guys they've gone out and gotten, from the Mark Schlerfs of the world. to
Gary
the-
Zimmerman's,
Yes.
Tony Jones.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's gotten them success, to have the Russell Okungs of the world.
Right.
And so going back to Stevenson, to me, is the right idea.
Yeah. All right, let's do one thing and talk about a key to the game. you're going into Jacksonville. They're 2-9. They're struggling. Blake Bortles, they're going to win this game. I don't think there's any way.
And if they lose, they're out.
There's no way they lose to Jacksonville Sunday. And then you got 4 more to go, 3 against the Patriots, Raiders, and Chiefs. And Tennessee's not going to be any cakewalking either. That's going to be a really tough game. So got to win this one, and then it's a 4-game run to the Roses after this.
Well, the key to the game is don't lose to Jacksonville. Gus Bradley is the worst coach in NFL history after like 5 years. Seriously, the worst coach by record in winning percentage. How he has a job is insane. He and Jeff Fisher, I don't know what they do to keep jobs, but whatever. But you've got to just get the run game going again. Let Simeon build off this. Clearly, for me, best game. And that's no disrespect to what he did in Cincinnati. But Simeon moving out of the pocket, Woody, and just terrorize Blake Bortles and maybe exchange jerseys with Malik Jackson. Those are the key games. Get a jersey exchange, be happy, and get out of Jacksonville with a win.
Sure. I think that you've got to have a continuation, and they didn't in overtime, of Trevor Simeon going down the field.
Yeah.
And forgive me, sounding like we have echoed this all year long, but wasn't it amazing when he started to throw deeper to Emmanuel? I'm not talking about 70 yards. That Benny Fowler thing was a mess up on defense. But going to Demarius downfield, going to Emmanuel, and he looked great doing it. Yeah. That is the best period of time. Did you notice in overtime? They went back to what they had done before they were doing that. Right. If you want to win, if you want to be aggressive and win, as John Elway was saying, unload on Jacksonville. Go down and dominate them. Yeah. Throw the ball down the field. Don't be afraid of some turnovers because they're such a bad team.
Right.
You caught Tampa Bay at a great time because they're now playing well. You're catching Jacksonville at a great time. Anytime's a great time to catch Jacksonville. Just go beat them and establish yourself because Tennessee is not going to be easy. No. That's the key to the game is be aggressive. Win the game. Win the game.
Yeah, like 34-10, big.
Hey, encouraged by A.J. Derby as well against the Chiefs. All right. Let's get a tight end, Woody, that came through.
He's the Derb. That's my new name.
Especially on third down.
Forget about the Gronk. We've got the Derb here.
Gronk and
we got
Derb.
Kentucky Derby, we got Home Run Derby, we got A.J. Derby. The three greatest Derbs.
Derb.
The Derb.
All right, Woody, let's do your rant here and see what you got cooking for us this week.
Well, I think this is interesting in terms of talking about Trevor Simeon that we saw last night, what he could be. If he keeps this up, Paxton Lynch is going to be on the bench again next year because Trevor last night looked like an NFL quarterback. It didn't start out that way. Had another couple of 3-and-outs trying to get that running game going. But I think what is so important, my rant was, we saw what we want him to be. And that's I'll tell you not only that, I wanted to turn to somebody. When they did score the touchdown, he was jumping up and down on the sidelines. So here's what I want to see of him. That is a capsulation of putting on tape what, if I'm Kubiak, saying, this is what we want out of you. Right. We want you to throw down the field. I'm going to call more plays for you. I trust you now to throw down the field. I want you to show some emotion. There was a moment where he got into huddle, and forgive me, but he reached around Okung and he put his arm around him and he was going, and I said, that's showing me something. I mean, just don't stand there. Say to these guys, we're going to go score. That's what Elway used to do. And so if you want to be a quarterback in this league and hold off Paxton Lynch next year, Trevor Simeon, take your highlight film from last night, forget about the other stuff, and say, that's what I'm going to be from now on.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you're right. I mean, 3 touchdowns, a 125.6 rating. He was hit. He was sacked 5 times, but he kept coming back. And he proved a little something against Kansas City.
Made plays outside the pocket. He looked like he was healthy for the first time since Tampa.
Got out there, hit receivers.
All right. Go to Jacksonville and kick butt, Trevor Simeon. All right, so let's quickly do some predictions. As I said, it's kind of like predicting.
They're going so well for me.
Yeah. I said 23,
I had them losing at New Orleans and then winning the Chiefs game.
All right, so what do you think in Jacksonville?
I believe it's going to be 27-10, that they're going to win impressively and give hope that they have a run in them. And it's greasy, but I think they win 27-10.
Oh, Brian Greasy's coming back? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Oh, greasy.
It's going to be greasy.
Well, I tend to go with 30-20. I'm not going to do that this week.
There's no way they're scoring 20
I win the Broncos scoring 30, and I see Jacksonville scoring 6.
Whoa, 30 to
This
6.
is going to be a blowout. The defense is going to come back. They're mad.
Yeah.
Wade's mad. He had a stocking cap on last night. You tell he's mad. And they're playing in nice weather. It'll be nice in Jacksonville.
Yeah, I'm going 28-13 Broncos. So we'll see what happens. It is a must-win. You got the Raiders at 9-2, the Chiefs at 7-4.
No, they're 8 and
No, 8-3, and the
Yeah,
Broncos at
7-4.
7-4. So got to take this one, and then the final 4 games.
People
is
better
gonna
be
a
ready
race.
and willing and hopeful of a wild card. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's the best you're going to do.
Exactly. Yep. All right, Troy and Woody, thanks so much for joining us. Thank you for joining us on Orange First. You're on the Denver channel. We'll see you again next week. Until then, have a great one.